This is the Venerable Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche public seminar entitled Heart of Meditation 1, given in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This is Talk 4, given on June 2nd, 1979. This is a CTI custom remaster made May 2023.
Following what we discussed previously, learning, practice, and action brings together one focal situation. That is a notion of a commitment. We have an interesting carpet here tonight, which might actually illustrate the whole thing. Anybody would like to hold up the carpet? Bring it here. Turn it towards here. This is an old story, what's known as the Three Friends. It's a very traditional story in Tibet and China. They tried to collect fruit from a tree, and they couldn't reach up enough at the loftiest of the tree. So there was an elephant, there was a monkey, and there's a rabbit. And all of them want to help each other collecting fruit. So the elephant says, I'll be the base of it, so I can reach higher. And then you have the monkey who said, I will actually climb on you, and so I can see what can I do. And then you have the rabbit who said, I will actually nibble on the basis of the fruit, so we all could get one. So this is somewhat based on the principle that we talked last night of the learning and practice and action. The practice being the base as elephant, and the learning is inquisitiveness of the monkey, and the intellect is based on the idea of a rabbit, some reason. But on the other hand, they can't get high up enough. So they have to have a bird to descend highest, which is supposedly the best fruit, comes from the tip of the tree, top of the tree. And the bird has to pick or chew through the stem of the fruit and hand it down. So you can put it down at this point. And it's called the three-friend principle. In fact, we have such paintings being done in the corridors of the meditation hall. One side you have the 12 Nidana chant, other side you have three-friend chant. So how one can work together with the action, learning, and practice together, put together. And the bird part is the interesting one. They are not regarded as part of exactly a three friends level alone. but the bird part is actually a teacher who will relate with these three friends, and they begin to feel sometimes the practice and learning situation is a very lofty idea, unreachable. So the bird is a teacher, which usually depicted as a robin, some reason, and with a red chest representing compassion and warmth, and cheerful, and begin to chew through the stem of the fruit. And so it drops into the mouth of the rabbit, and then handed down to the hand of the monkey, and then handed down to the trunk of the elephant. So the fruit could be shared properly that way, which is an interesting story that when we usually talk about teacher-student relationships in the academic sense, like in private schools in England or public schools in Canada, what have you, that we talk about a stern face. And you never can imagine that your teacher would be like Robin. And in this case, in the Buddhist tradition, the teacher is an advanced person who knows you so well, and he can hand it down the best quality of the Dharma, which is the fruit. And the teacher principle, therefore, is very, very important. Otherwise, there's no reason to have three friends at all. So the concept of a teaching and a teacher situation is becoming very important for a practitioner to have one. Somebody asked that question last night. Is she here? By a teacher? She's not here? That's too bad. The concept of a teacher is to communicate basic sanity, that you yourselves can inspire very directly, very simply. Not quite at the same level as hero worship in the popular sense. In short, we could say the signal to wake up in the morning is having sunrise. And the signal to continue your daily life is having an experience at dawn of some kind. And teacher is also a reference point in which we can actually let go of our reservations to our own neurosis and let go of holding secret corners that we talked about yesterday. Remember? In the Buddhist tradition, the teacher principle has threefold. First, meeting the teacher is meeting wise man, learned person, And the second stage meeting of the teacher is a best friend who understands your neurosis and confusions. And thirdly, teacher begin to become emperor, king, in the Vajrayana sense. Who beckons the students to join the universal monarch principle and the court. Join the court, imperial court situation. And in any case, any one of those principles always becomes expression of tremendous gentleness and openness, where that one glance and one word dealing with the students solves hundreds of centuries of chaos and confusion. If we don't have a teacher to relate with at all, we find ourselves completely self-made, which is called ego's clinging, that we try to graduate from our own confusion by taking pride in our own confusion, constantly. That there's no room to grow further. We would like to stop somewhere. And we begin to refuse to have flying connections altogether. Like taking an airplane ride. If you have to stop on the way to Toronto from New York by way of Chicago, you don't want to go to Toronto, where the challenge exists. So you prefer to lie down and fall asleep in your sleeping bags in Chicago. And the role of the teacher is tap on your shoulder in Chicago. Say, come back with us to Toronto. Your plane's about to be board in 15 minutes. Go through the securities and come to Toronto. Let us make journey together. And that particular journey is quite excitable. By no means it is dull, but on the other hand, it could be demanding. And demand is basically based on the idea of practice itself. Notion of a teacher is also idea of a physician. And the medicine that a physician prescribes is a dharma, the teaching. Dharma is practiced as you take your pills. And certain points that you may run out of your pills. And in order to renew further prescription, the doctor doesn't just purely renew prescription. That seems to be a mark of a bad doctor. And doctor will check again and go through your physical checkup once more, that whether you should take such pill or not, or maybe not taking pills, maybe taking further pills, whatever is discipline might be necessary. In the Mahayana sense, the teacher is a ferryman. That both the teacher and the student are in the same boat. If there's a panic on the board of that particular boat, it is the role of the ferryman to quell potential freak out. And in the Vajrayana sense, teacher is the pilot. If your plane is about to crash, it is the duty of the pilot to say, have a good time. Any questions, please?
If I could return to the notion of trusting the heart, in Jungkook Kongtrul's book, the Mainstream Path to Enlightenment, he suggests that one trust in the phrase, the noble heart of the Sugata. If awakened mind or basic paranoia is the luminosity, the cell of the Vajradhatu, which is in the heart, then does that mean one should trust in oneself and in the example of the teacher? I'm wondering what you would say about Arya Hridaya and
About what?
Arya Hridaya, noble heart, and Sugata.
Well, when you talk about Arya, it means noble already. Noble means no disgrace. Therefore it's Arya. Arya Chitta. Aryam Chittam. I think that suggests some kind of leap. That there is a existing sacredness taking place in any case already. That's Aryam part of it. Chittam is acknowledging that Aryan heart already. That's it. Celebration and brilliantness of it.
Rinpoche, you said that without a teacher we find ourselves self-made. You said that without a teacher we find ourselves self-made and that we graduate from confusion by taking pride in the confusion. I don't quite understand that, and I wonder if you could elaborate a bit more.
What part you don't understand? So,
Well, how are we self-made? In what sense do you say that we're What have we made ourselves into?
Well, self-styled. If you have your passion style, or ignorant style, or aggression style, because you never have to surrender yourself to any one of teachers. So it would be like you think you're best driver without taking a driving test. So you wouldn't know the code of the driving situations.
So we become more of the same of what we were before.
Somewhat, and it made me worse.
Worse.
You might run into old ladies and crash into buildings as you drive. Is that good enough? Can we deal with that?
Thank you. In the Vajrayana analogy where the plane is about to crash, I think this is Tomek's question, but what is the plane? What is the plane?
What is the plane? That's Vajrayana. It's a vehicle, diamond vehicle.
Then why would it crash?
Well, it might crash if there is heavy loaded situations of a potential Vajranaraka.
And then you would say, bon voyage.
Bon voyage, definitely, yeah. Bon Vajranaraka.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
There's a Buddhist precept, I understand, that prohibits drinking, and I believe you disagree with this. Could you explain your feeling about it?
Well, that's a very good question. The precept says, of the 5 principal precepts, which says if you take even a drink which you dipped in a blade of grass and have a taste of it, that is against the rule. And also further says in the precepts that when you begin to drink and you begin to lose the reference point, what is good and what is evil altogether. And the drinking encourages to steal, lie, kill, and all the rest of it. It's interesting twist in the mind that drinking begin to perpetuate further neurosis in people's physical body and psychological situations very much. But at the same time, it is possible that drinking will brings out the possibilities of neurosis and the sanity at once, simultaneously. So a person might have some understanding of there could be mindfulness, awareness, as to how they drink, how they regard each sip of alcohol going to your body fully, properly. And at that point, the drinking situation either could be there is a dawn and you're regressing into a nightfall, or there's a dawn you're bringing to a great distant sunlight. So I would say it's individual situation, particularly at that point. And basically, alcohol affects people's state of mind. Either they become loving or destructive. Two choices, which is based on some kind of basic sitting practice situation and how you experience anything, which is not purely drinking alcohol alone, but anything you might take in your body. And drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, or taking even aspirin. Any one of those situations has that quality of either you're regressing or you're advancing. So drinking liquor is like putting yourself riding on the razor blade. It cuts you completely, or you can ride and have fun while riding on the razor blade. So it is a very interesting challenge, and it's very demanding on the other hand. It is a mark of your sanity when people are affected by alcohol. It could be a killer, it could be a cure. It could be a killer because it downgrades one's dignity altogether. And it could be a cure, and the poison turning into medicine. So it's one of those challenges that we have. Find out yourself.
If I understand that the key to necessity of the teacher is the necessity to surrender, otherwise one, as you said, builds up whatever. My question is, why it is the necessity to surrender to a particular person, let's say not to phenomenal world? That's the question.
Mm-hmm. That's very bodhisattva question. Well, reason to surrender to a particular person is because you have a basic understanding and appreciation of there's heritage, which is descended from long-term lineage throughout present situations. Would be the best. You might say that how come I should stop at this particular bus stop, since there are so many bus stops everywhere? And you might stop at a randomly one bus stop, and you may not find your way to home. So the best thing to do is find out closest to home where your bus stop is taking place, and take off there, wait there, if you want to go to another destination. So the idea is a direct connection, direct communication, where you begin to find that particular lineage, and the sanity of the lineage is on that particular premises, that particular earth that we're sitting on. So that seems to be the basic point, is we have to start from the point where we can actually start from.
If I may just make sure that I understood you, correctly, you are saying that in each of us is particular sort of affinity to certain energy of the lineage, and that's the way it clicks.
I think so. Yes, very much so.
Thank you.
Rinpoche, it seems that one of the difficulties that people have in relating to the notion of teacher is understanding how to surrender properly. Some people have the idea that to surrender means to sort of give up one's intelligence, to sort of become a zombie or unthinking. Could you talk about that misconception?
Well, we seem to have a lot of levels of surrendering. The first one is, in fact, when students begin to hear the Dharma, that they surrender to the teachings, which is a description of one's own existence. So you're willing to surrender yourself, which people have never done in a lot of cases. And they're willing to trust themselves to begin with, which is the Maitreya level. They're willing to make friends with themselves to begin with. So at least you have a square one friend of some kind, something which stops you and something you can relate with, is you make friends with yourself to begin with. Because of the dharmic situations you have studied, learned, such as like study of Abhidharma we talked about last night, that you know who you are, what you are, to begin with. Then we begin to have another friend, is your activities, your actions, which are the practice in the situation. Sitting practice and mindfulness, awareness practice, and you begin to make friends with that as well. And you don't regard that as a purely duty, like in being in the military, but you can make friends with yourself because your habitual patterns, daily life situations, whether you work run a shop or you have to run a swimming course, or you might have to be a waitresses or secretaries, whatever you do, that you have made friends with your activities, your actions, independent of a payroll. That your job is genuine job, that you are making friends with your activities, that you have no longer resentment of the society's pressure and everything like that. So there is a second set of surrendering taking place. Then beyond that, your own surrendering to yourself, your action, which is also expression of surrendering. Then beyond that, we begin to experience that everything is inspired because of the atmosphere of the teaching situation altogether. And somebody who actually clicked you into that particular possible situations in any case, without that situation you cannot do so. So there is some sense of gratification, gratefulness of the whole thing altogether. Then beyond that, because of that situation is taking place, therefore that you are actually in love with what you're doing and practice and the teacher at the same time. And you begin to feel there is a greater room to open one's heart. And for the last time or the first time, that you begin to realize that you don't have to hold a grudge against anybody at all. And your teacher is the least of it. And you have a greatest friend. And beyond that, teacher is the greatest friend, therefore teacher is the greatest king, emperor over your life at the same time. Not because commands is the only point, but because that you are willing to experience, you have experienced already that your environment, your job, yourself, your domestic situation is a world of its own. And you become subject of that particular king, that particular emperorhood. There is sunshines, moonshines in that particular atmosphere. that you could actually feel so good that you are in a particular type of world which is worthwhile, cheerful, gentle, and so forth.
Sir, when the sun shines, sometimes it's just a sparkle. It's just a sudden glimpse, maybe, when you see some little
It does?
maybe a moment, just some moment.
Yeah. Do you always turn on the light when the sun shines?
Yes, I'd like to.
Electricity
Well,
in your room
possibly.
during the day?
Today,
During the day,
during the day, certainly.
do you?
But
What I'm
how can
asking
it
you-
continue? Doesn't it come out? It comes.
I beg your pardon?
It comes out of the practice of mindfulness.
Yes.
And you said in the second talk that this came directly out of the practice of shamatha meditation. I was wondering if you could be specific about relating that sparkle maybe to actual practice. How does that
Well,
mindfulness?
that is actual practice, in fact.
That is?
Yes, indeed. That is the sunshine.
Thank you, sir.
That is it. That's it. And in order to save the electricity bill, I would recommend you to not switch on your lights during the day.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We have one last day before we disperse, but hopefully we can make it tomorrow is the best ending of all. And so again, once more, that please practice as much as you could, and trying to apply whatever we discussed tonight and the other days to your discipline. Thank you very much.